Hey, what is up, everybody? In today's video, I'm going to be going through my entire physical Nintendo Wii collection of games here. So I've had the Nintendo Wii since October of 2010, roughly. I practically begged my parents to get a Wii, and we spent much of that entire year like saving up for it. And yeah, like I also got a gift card, a couple of gift cards from some relatives as well, so that really helped. Um, as originally I was supposed to get the Wii itself as a Christmas present, but I ended up getting it a couple months early thanks to my relatives visiting and handing me like a couple of Toys R Us gift cards. Uh, for those of you who may be a little too young to know, or for anyone watching in the future, Toys R Us used to sell video games. Now they don't. They got rid of it, most likely because it just wasn't making them uh, that much money anymore. I mean, I went to Toys R Us a lot, and yeah, a lot of their games just were just stuck on the shelves for a while. So they probably just realized it wasn't worth it. But anyways, getting back on track, yeah. So for the last nearly 15 years, my Wii collection has kind of grown, but also contracted a bit. Honestly, I would say that my collection has doubled, but also is double what you originally see here at most, and then it kind of just shrank down quite a bit. I haven't actually played as many Wii games as much as or collected as many Wii games as I would have wanted. Largely because I sailed the seven seas for some of these games. Case in point, a Fire Emblem, Radiant Dawn. That game is very, very hard to get nowadays. I saw a copy of it for $15 many years ago, and I still to this very day regret not picking it up because it is a very hard to find game now and very expensive. Um, Now, the Nintendo Wii, of course, was best known for, or infamously known for, a lot of the shovelware. And what better way to start than a game that some would decry as shovelware, but others would decry as a fun, what others would call, sorry, a fun party game. Just Dance 2020, which, interestingly enough, was the last Nintendo Wii game ever released. That's right. This game was the last one. It was released all the way back in at the end of 2019, and the only reason they had this was the last one was because the developer of Shakedown Hawaii could not get a physical copy for the Wii released in North America. So, for those of you living in North America, Just Dance 2020 is the last one, while in Europe, it's Shakedown Hawaii. Uh, and funny enough, Just Dance 2020 uh, got a release on Wii, but also the Switch, but not the Wii U. The last Wii U entry, uh, the last Just Dance entry that got released on Wii U, sorry, was Just Dance 2018. So we got Just Dance 2019 and 2020 on Wii, but not the Wii U, which is hilarious. Really just goes to show just how poorly the Wii U sold, though, which is such a shame in hindsight. Because that system could have done a lot better. But yeah, we're not here to dwell on the Wii U right now. We're here to talk about the Nintendo Wii, and despite the fact that this was released at the tail end, you still got you still got some songs. Most of the songs here, you obviously don't get the DLC because by that point, I believe the Wii Shop channel was already shut down, so you you couldn't you can't even if Ubisoft wanted to, they could not make DLC for this. And I believe also around that time too, they were shutting down servers for these Just Dance games. So if you didn't, if you did not collect any of the unlockable songs or anything else that required the online mode, you're basically stuck with what's on the disc, and that applies to pretty much most of the Just Dance games nowadays. Still, it is the one positive thing I can say about having a Just Dance game physically, I should say, is that you also have access to a soundtrack in disc form, which is uh, becoming harder and harder to get these days, especially since ever since the 2013 sorry the 2023 game or iteration of Just Dance, they've opted to just have a code in a box. So 2023, 2024, 2025, and I'm assuming the upcoming 2026, just code in a box, no disc, no cartridge, nothing. So if you find a copy of anything 2022 and below, you're good. At least for in terms of the content that's on the disc. Anything that's like downloadable, most likely is not going to be usable. Okay, next up we have a handful of games here that don't actually have box art, and the reason is because I bought these games with just the disc, but I ended up getting a whole bunch of blank cases to put them in. I just either A, could not find a printable box art, or I just didn't bother. So first game we have here is Call of Duty Modern Warfare Reflex Edition. So this is the Nintendo Wii port of Call of Duty 4. Originally released in 2007, this port got released the same time as Modern Warfare 2 for other platforms. So while everyone else was enjoying the horrors of the no Russian mission, Nintendo Wii owners were just finally getting to experience what the Modern Warfare trilogy, the OG Modern Warfare trilogy, had to offer, and it was serviceable for the time. But nowadays you really don't want to go back to these versions. Sorry, they're not the best versions. It's a nice novelty just to see how it was on Wii, but really you don't want to go back. I mean, aside from the novelty, some of these games, I think Modern Warfare Reflex Edition, for example, do not have like traditional controller support. So if you just want to play with button controls, well, unfortunately, you cannot. You're basically stuck with using the Wii remote and nunchuck, which is what the whole Reflex Edition is all about. Now because it came out in the same day as Modern Warfare 2, we never got Modern Warfare 2 on Wii, which is a pity. We did get Modern Warfare 3 though, and it is pretty much the full fat experience for the most part, at least the base experience, anyways. Where you're still missing some things though. In both that game as well as like pretty much every Nintendo Wii port of Call of Duty, like some missions have been shortened, some mission segments are missing, some missions entirely are missing, some game modes like zombies in World of War are missing. As for in the case of Modern Warfare Reflex Edition, I believe you have everything except the Variety Pack DLC. I don't think you have that. It would have been nice if they actually included this, but of course, they didn't, which is a pity. It would have been, it would have been a nice addition if they did. But yeah, that's Modern Warfare for the Wii. I got this pretty dirt cheap. Can't remember how much, but oh yeah, and while I'm at it, before I forget, they actually kept the servers for the Call of Duty games up and running for quite a long time. It was only the last couple of years or so that they actually shut it down completely. Like as long as you had if you were like one of the few people who actually played the games from the very beginning of release, you were still able to play the game as long as you had the patches installed from the Wii Shop channel, and yeah, you could pretty much play the online mode, which was pretty cool. But like I said, you had to have had the patches installed because otherwise you would not be able to use the online mode, since A, they either got shut down, or B, the patches themselves, for whatever reason, was removed off the Wii Shop channel, which is odd. But anyways, let's move on. Red Steel, I heard that this was like this was a game that was pushed as like this was pushed marketed, sorry, as a top as a heavy hitter for the Wii back then. I recall. I remember I did vaguely see some footage of Reggie Fils-Aimé actually showing this game off. Haven't actually touched it, but I'll get to it at some point. Next up, we have Link's Crossbow Training. This was a pack-in game for the Wii Zapper, which was a peripheral among many other peripherals released for the Wii. Basically you just slot in the Wii remote and nunchuck to make it look more like a gun or a bow and a crossbow. And this was the game that was included inside, which was basically just more of a tech demo than anything else. It was just reused. It was just a mini game that was meant to demonstrate. That was really just for demonstration purposes, and also it was just recycled assets from Twilight Princess, The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess, which came out earlier. So yeah, I've got that now. It also originally came in a little sleeve, but obviously, I don't have that, so it's just a generic case for now. Next up, Medal of Honor Heroes 2. So I'm gonna be honest, I've never really played a Medal of Honor game. I tried to play Frontlines on the PlayStation 3. I got it I tried to play that port of the game. I just couldn't get into it. It was too dated for me by that point. Modern Warfare 2 2009 has completely spoiled me when it comes to like first-person shooters. It's hard to go back to anything prior to that. Anything prior to like to any Call of Duty game prior to like 2007 or even prior to 2005. But yeah, this game, of course, I believe was made with the motion controls in mind. I think it got a PS2 port as well. Not too sure. It was pretty common for some Wii games to get PS2 ports with with just regular button controls because they weren't too far off. These systems were not too far off in terms of processing power, but also the PS2 sold really, really well. So of course they wanted to make it for PS2 and just get get more money out of that system. The Blob 2. So this was this one I actually printed the box for this myself. This was a sequel to The Blob 1, which also came out on Wii. Took advantage of the Wii motion controls and was also one of the last titles that THQ made before they unfortunately went bankrupt. For those of you unaware, THQ went bankrupt because they basically tried to sell this extremely expensive peripheral, called the Wii U. Sorry, not the U-Draw game tablet, which was a commercial failure. I remember actually seeing a whole bunch of these on sale at Walmart many years ago for dirt cheap, and yeah, that peripheral alone killed THQ, which by that point had made some pretty good franchises. I think they did like the WWE franchise, Red Faction, and a couple other notable franchises that got sold off to what would eventually become Embracer Group. Moving on, we have Need for Speed: The Run. This is an alternate version of Need for Speed: The Run. It's completely different from the HD version of the game. It's actually based on the Nintendo 3DS version, which also did not review very well. I got this just for the novelty of it because it's not often that you get a Wii game that's completely different than the HD version. Well, actually, you did. But my point is, you don't get that much often nowadays. Nowadays, when you get like a Switch or Switch 2 version of a game, it's often just the same as the other versions, except more watered down. This is a completely different game altogether, and I do actually plan on getting most of the Need for Speed games at some point, because I heard some of them are really, really good, especially the ones released during the mid 2000s before they kind of ran that franchise into the ground. Yeah, so jumping the gun. Actually, yeah, I'll start with this one. Yes, so Spider-Man: Web of Shadows. So this was one of the first Spider-Man games released on Wii when they were still releasing Spider-Man games on as a multi-platform franchise. Before, of course, they started making them Sony exclusive, Sony and PC exclusive. Yeah, so the main gimmick of this game is that you can choose between good and evil, which is actually a really nice idea. This also was the origins of the Spider-Man walking meme. I'm sure you guys can look that up. Spider-Man's just walking through the battlefield, all depressed looking, and yeah, that's where that meme came from. I don't know. I can't remember how the Wii version of this game handles. But I'll find out soon enough when I actually get touch the game. Once again, I did print out the box art myself because it did not come with one. Next up, again, this is a printed one. Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Winter Games. I remember actually getting this for dirt cheap, and yeah, I was actually surprised because this game, of course, is based on like the most popular franchise Nintendo has put out, and generally Mario games, they tend to hold their value no matter what, generally speaking. Though I suppose maybe Sonic is weighing him down because, of course, there was a period when Sonic was not doing so well, especially during a good chunk of the 2010s, I should say. Or but of course, but that's a completely different argument. Point is, this was a crossover game featuring Mario and Sonic and their friends, uh, you know, uh, with a whole bunch of mini games to go through based on the Olympics. In this case, it was the Vancouver 2010 Olympics, which happened here in Canada. And I actually quite enjoyed the DS version of the game. The Wii version, I played a bit of it, and I there's definitely some things I really like about it, but I haven't played it enough. I need to actually sit down and actually play through all this because um, the one thing I really appreciate about the Olympic Games, especially on the Wii, is that they had all these dream events that are actually based off of locations in both the Mario and Sonic franchises, and I especially get a kick out of seeing Radical Highway from Sonic Adventure 2 all snow covered, as well as all the various remixes. It really is a love letter to fans in that sense. It's such a shame that the franchise is basically dead now because um, they're more focused on cryptocurrency apparently, from what I've heard. But yeah, the franchise had a good run, but sadly, it's over. Okay, next up, we have The Amazing Spider-Man on the Nintendo Wii, released in 2012, based on the movie of the same name featuring Andrew Garfield. Now, much like the aforementioned Need for Speed: The Run, this is completely different from the HD version. Once again, it is based on the 3DS version. Although actually, now that I think about it, it is more of a it is act it does share some similarities to the HD version in of itself. It's actually very impressive what they were able to cram in here. But unlike the HD version where you're basically going around in an open world, the Wii and 3DS version is just stage to stage. Um, so they basically cut out the open world, which did throw me off a bit because in the beginning of the game you go through this lab and in like the nighttime, and then all of a sudden you fight this boss in the daytime. It's like what? When did when did the sun rise? And that's because you're supposed in between the boss fight and the end of the stage, you're actually supposed to roam around in the open world, an open world that neither the 3DS or Wii version have. But yeah, this is the last Spider-Man game released on Wii. And yeah, that's basically it. It got a port to Wii U, but that version is based on the HD version, with all the content included, which is nice. Next up we have a bunch of Mario games here. So we have New Super Mario Brothers Wii. This one is a reprint, and you can tell it's a reprint because it's got the white box instead of the red box. Yeah, I got this for $15, and yeah, I originally sailed the Seven Seas my first time playing this, but I actually got a legit copy because it was like $15, which is a pretty good deal, all things considered. You know, Mario games again, they tend to be expensive, so having this for $15 was awesome. Not much to say that hasn't already been said by other people. You know, 4-player co-op, the first one I should to allow such a feature, which is really awesome. Though, admittedly, some people feel that this was the beginning of where the franchise kind of stagnated. The 2D Mario games kind of stagnated because they were just the exact same game, but just slightly different. So of course you got the DS game before this, then you got the Wii game, you got the 3DS game, and the Wii U game, which were all released not too far from each other, and were all very very similar games. So understandably some people got tired of that. Oh yeah, before I move on, yeah, let's actually show this is the Amazing Spider-Man. Almost forgot to show that off. And also Mario and Sonic. Also forgot to show this off. Sorry, guys. But yeah, that's the inside. Okay, next up we have Mario Galaxy 1 and Super Mario Galaxy 2. So this is the Nintendo Selects version, which obviously was a reprint. I know some people don't like the Nintendo Select line, but one thing I can appreciate about it is that it was as part of the Nintendo Select line, the games are cheaper. So I got this for $20, I believe, back in around 2014, and yeah, I thought it was a really good deal at the time, and especially since the game was really really fun. I think I 100% completed this game back then, but that was such a long time ago now that I pretty much forgotten a lot of what happened in the game, or a lot of what I played. I'm sure it'll come back to me when I play it, but at the very least, I do remember enjoying my time with this. And same with Mario Galaxy 2. I really enjoyed my time with this. I guess the only it's a shame this game did not get ported over to Switch yet, but I have a feeling the reason they didn't do that had to do with the fact that had to do with Yoshi, because Yoshi is heavily reliant on controlling Yoshi is heavily reliant on the motion controls, and sorry, more specifically like the sensor bar on the Wii. So they would have to remap that, I guess, which may not be as easy as just making Mario spin jump a button command. But that, or they could just be saving Mario Galaxy 2 for some for some re-release in the future. I really don't know, but it would be nice to have Mario Galaxy 2 on the Switch, because especially since, you know, both this and 3D Land are like the only ones that are not available on Switch, which is a pity. But as for the game itself, it is fantastic. As much about as fantastic, if not more fantastic than the first one. I still need to 100% complete this game. I still haven't done that. I really want to go back and actually do that and just finish it. It's a really really well made game. Next up, okay, well, we got another Mario game here, Super Mario All Stars. This is a re-release of Super Mario All Stars from the Super Nintendo. Comes with 4 games. All of which have been remade, which were originally remade, sorry, for the Super Nintendo. So of course you got Super Mario Brothers, Super Mario Brothers: The Lost Levels, Super Mario Brothers 2, or Super Mario Bros. 2 USA, because it was technically just another game that they reskinned as a Mario game, and then Super Mario Bros. 3. And I got, amazingly, this was $5.99. I don't know what, I guess they just wasn't selling that well or something, but yeah, $5.99 for this, which is an incredible deal now, especially since like Nintendo apps doesn't seem to want to sell compilations sell their retro games. They'd rather just you use a subscription service to get them, that you have to obviously pay on a yearly basis, and over time that adds up quite a bit, no matter how many more games they add. I can't remember the price. I think it's like $25 right now for Nintendo Switch Online. Sorry, there, wrong spot. But yeah, that's I got myself Super Mario All Stars. So if I wanted to play it, I can just load it up on disc. Next up, Super Smash Brothers Brawl. I always thought that Mario was holding like a club in his hand for the longest time, but no, that's just Samus's leg. Yeah, I got this years ago. Again, I printed the art, if you couldn't tell. Yeah, I sailed the 7 seas for this, and same with, yeah, sailed the 7 seas for this originally, but then eventually decided to get a legit copy of it. I know a lot of people like to use the Project M mod. Me, I'll stick with what's on the disc for the most part. That's just a me thing. It's also what is notable is the fact that this is one of the few Wii games that uses a dual layer disc, because of just how much they have to cram onto here, which is pretty impressive for the Wii, all things considered. A shame, however, the game was not as well received as Melee, technically, because it sold fantastically. A lot of hardcore fans were not happy with some elements in the game, specifically like the tripping mechanic. You know, made the game feel a little too casual. But you know, I'll let fans decide whether or not they like this. It's up to you. Next up is, we got 3 back-to-back Sonic games here. We got Sonic and the Secret Rings, which it's quite a bit damaged here. I kind of wish I held out for a better copy, because oof, yeah, this is not great. It was the only reason I picked this up the way it was because it was cheap. But yeah, so what is notable about this game, Sonic and the Secret Rings, is that they actually are bringing back one of the stages, like the dinosaur stage. That's going to be in the upcoming Sonic Racing Crossworlds game, which is really cool. I didn't think they would actually reference this game of all things, but they are. Now, as for the game itself, the history behind this game is rather interesting. So, infamously, Sonic the Hedgehog 2006 had a very troubled development, and part of that troubled development stemmed from the fact that they could not port the game to the Nintendo Wii, because the system was just not capable. The system was just not built to run it, or it would have taken too long. So they opted to split the team in half and have the other half work on this game, a Nintendo Wii exclusive with its own thing going. In this case, you have Sonic traveling to the world of the Arabian Nights, you know, Aladdin thing, and with a bunch of wonky motion controls. And yeah, a lot of people, depending on who you ask, this is a bad game. Some people have a lot of nostalgia towards it, but overall, it's a very mediocre game. Very, very, very mediocre. Sadly, definitely the one of the weaker Sonic games released on Wii. Sadly. Next up we have Sonic and the Black Knight, which is the sequel to Sonic and the Secret Rings. This game takes place in the world of King Arthur, um, or Arthurian. Can't pronounce it, but okay. Well, basically, Sonic gets isekai'd into King Arthur's world, and same thing with Secret Rings. Actually, Sonic is basically turned into an isekai protagonist for these two entries, which is interesting. And they were marketed as the Sonic Storybook series in North America, but everywhere else it does not bear this marketing ploy here. It's really just a North American thing, it seems. It was probably just done to to signify that this and Secret Rings are like meant to be like be of the same type of gameplay, because at the time of release you also had Sonic Unleashed on Wii, which was doing its own thing, whereas Black Knight was definitely more of a sequel to Secret Rings than anything else. It had the on rails gameplay of the previous game, except now you have a sword, and you have to plug in your nunchuck for actual analog controls, which is nice, but it doesn't. And I understand that some people actually really like this game, and you know what? The music alone is great. It really is. And I believe this is also like, I can't remember the guy's name, but the director of this game, or one of the people who worked on this game, ended up going on to direct several future Sonic games, including the next one I'm about to talk about. But yeah, unfortunately, once again, this was a mediocre game overall, review-wise, and this game, along with Secret Rings and several other titles, ended up getting quickly delisted shortly after launch. In an attempt by Sega to increase the brand value of Sonic. Yeah, imagine that. Think about that. This game came out with less than a year. Within a year of this game coming out, they practically just gave up on it and decided to just pull all copies. This sort of, now obviously you're probably thinking, oh, Concord got pulled within a couple weeks, but no, like this was very different back then. Like digital copies were still pretty well. First of all, digital copies and all live service games were very very new back then, so it's like having a game pulled like this was a pretty big deal. But yeah, that's Sonic and the Black Knight. Next up, we actually have probably one of the best, if not the best, Sonic games on the Wii, Sonic Colors. And I would argue that you could easily make the argument that this is also the best version of the game to play, aside from playing it on an emulator, because the remaster that came out several years ago was of subpar quality. Sadly, it had some new things, but it also removed a couple things, like it. Well, something as basic as the online leaderboard was gone for some reason, and you also could not play as your Mii characters no more in the Eggman Simulator mode of the game, which is weird because like it got released on Switch, and you would think they would implement it, but no, they didn't. And uh, the biggest the biggest fault with that remaster, of course, was that they changed they changed engines largely which may have been largely because they got a third party studio to develop the remaster, which did not end very well, sadly. But yeah, the Wii version, it's great. It's still great. Like you have a lot of controller options, which is excellent. You got the Wii remote on its side, Wii remote and nunchuck, gaming controller, classic controller. Uh, yeah, that's really all. It's really nice, and it is objectively like the best. Probably, yeah, definitely one of the best. If I had to recommend a Sonic game on Wii to get, this would probably be it. I want to say Unleashed as well, but the Werehog is kind of brings it down a bit for that one. And of course, as I mentioned with the previous two entries, Secret Rings and Black Knight, those are very mediocre games that are very hit and miss. So yeah, I'd recommend this one. It's really fun. It's just a good game overall. Oh, and I also recommend the DS version as well. Which is completely different. It's also a good version. Okay, next up we have yet another one of these same name, different game type deal. Star Wars: The Force Unleashed 2. This is the sequel to The Force Unleashed. Well, actually, I'm sorry. I think I forgot to open this. Yeah, okay. I think yeah. So here's the inside. I think I forgot to open that. Anyways, Force Unleashed 2. So this was considered a bit of a disappointing sequel for some people for some reason. I haven't played it yet, but I also own like the Xbox 360 version as well. So we'll find out what this game's deal is soon enough. Um, but yeah, this game. Okay, so I am curious as to whether they will remaster this game because they actually did port the Force Unleashed 1 to Switch a couple years ago, specifically the Wii version. So I'm curious as to whether they're gonna port this version of the game also to Switch or Switch 2 as well. It is a bit of the game is in a bit of an awkward situation because you have this because the Switch version of the game is based on the Wii version, and yet all the other console versions are different to some capacity. Like the Xbox 360 version is backwards compatible on an Xbox One, but if you want to play the Wii version, the original Wii version, well, you got to get the Switch. It does make me wonder what would happen if they actually decided to remaster the HD version. Like, how would that? What would they call it? Star Wars Unleashed HD Remastered or what? Anyways, moving on. We have Wii Party, and you know what? Yeah, so this was actually a Christmas present that same year that I got the Wii, and I really, really had a lot of fun with this. Spent so many hours playing this game along with my sister. Um, yeah, it was just so much fun. Although I will say it's not as like it's not as casual friendly as say Wii Sports though, unfortunately. So yeah, but I still had so many hours of fun out of this. It was really fun it was a great time overall. I wish I could say the same for this game though. This game wishes it could be Wii Party. It's really just a glorified minigame collection by Nintendo. Yeah, before I forget, yeah. So this is what the game looks like. The back of the box. As for Wii Play, yeah, it was yeah, you basically have like 10 mini games, and that's basically it. It was just meant to show off like the capabilities of the Wii remote and nothing more. I've always wanted to get the sequel Wii Play Motion since it came with a red Wii remote, which I thought was cool, and has like which also had like built-in Wii Motion Plus inside, but I never did. Maybe one day. But yeah, that's Wii Play and Wii Party. I mean, who knows? Maybe they'll do sequels. Maybe they'll give these games sequels. I know Wii Party U is a sequel, but what about Switch Party? That would be nice. Speaking of sequels, Sin and Punishment Star Successor on Wii. This is actually a sequel to an very obscure N64 game. And yeah, it's an on-rail shooter, which I have yet to actually touch, but I've heard it's a bit of a hidden gem on Wii. Um, yeah, so if I just open it up, yeah, so here's the game itself. Yeah, it looks pretty cool. It reminds me a bit of Xenoblade. And and much like Xenoblade, I hope this game eventually becomes successful, gets the success that it probably deserves because it's kind of fallen by the wayside, sadly. And speaking of fallen by the wayside, I have another franchise here that's been sorely neglected: Knight's Journey of Dreams. This is actually a sequel to a Sega Saturn game from years from like the mid 90s. Yeah, this is the 2007 sequel. I actually just rebought this game not too long ago. I previously got it like many years ago. I played through it. The controls were a bit janky, but I had a fun time with it nonetheless. I didn't quite understand like the full, you know, the didn't quite understand like how to properly play it. So I had a hard time getting through the game, but yeah, I had it was still a really nice game nonetheless, and I really hope one day they bring back this franchise in some capacity if they haven't already gotten plans for that. It was also worth mentioning this was also done by this was I think this was this was a Sonic Team game, the same people, and of course I think like Yuji Naka was involved in the original Knights game back then, but of course by the release of this game he had already left Sega, and this was of course well before the whole getting arrested thing, which has forever tarnished his reputation. Oh wait, I still got the receipt in here. Okay, that's interesting. Ah, yes. Can't believe I forgot to take the receipt out. Okay, I'll just leave the receipt in there. But anyways, yeah, so... Oh, okay, you gotta be careful. Yeah, there we go. Next up, okay, Shaun White Snowboarding Road Trip. I think this was a sequel to another Shaun White game. I actually just try this out a little bit. I actually enjoyed it. It's pretty fun. So Shaun White Snowboarding, I think this was like an attempt to like try and push like snowboarding as a sport, especially since Tony Hawk was really successful at the time. So I guess Ubisoft wanted to capitalize on that, but with snowboarding and having a really famous person attached to it. This is the 90s and 2000s were definitely an interesting time for celebrity athletes, because of course you had like Tiger Woods being the face of the PGA Tour franchise before they scrubbed him completely because of his personal issues. But yeah, this was certainly an interesting look into certainly an interesting time. And hey, the game was pretty fun. I believe I got this as part of a lot. I think I did a video on this like within the last year or so. Can't remember how much I paid for this, but I've got it in my collection now. Okay, next up, another Ubisoft game. Splinter Cell Double Agent, or sorry, Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell Double Agent by Ubisoft. Once again, I printed out the box art for this because I didn't have the original. And what's interesting about this game... Oh, okay, it actually has a two-player mode. Okay, I didn't know that. But anyways, yeah, what's interesting about this game is that this was released on pretty much everything under the sun at the time. I think this game even got released on, like... Okay, actually, no. It got released, I think... Yeah, it got released on, like, the PS3, Xbox 360, I think PC, but also it got an alternative version on the original Xbox, PlayStation 2, not sure about. I don't know about the GameCube, but it got but it got a version on the Wii. I think maybe it did get a version on GameCube. Not sure. Anyways, but yeah, the Wii version is similar to the the OG Xbox version and PS2 version, due to like hardware limitations, and yeah, this is considered like technically considered the OG Xbox version is considered like the better version compared to the HD version, which was done by a completely different studio, and is a completely different game altogether, I should say. And the Wii version is based on that better version, but at the same time it's worse because you have forced motion controls, and depending on how you feel about that, it may dampen the experience a bit. But hey, I got Double Agent here. I recently got the original Xbox version, so I'm probably just going to stick with that version. Though I might just try the Wii version just for the novelty. It is, you don't, these third-party games always, we're always had something interesting going on Wii, even if they were bad at the end. Next up, we have a pair of games here, Wii Fit and Wii Fit Plus. I don't actually have the balance board. I just got these as part of like a bundle, as part of a lot, so I had to take them. Like these, if there's like any two games that you will consistently find at like a thrift store or any video game store, it's these two. just because they sold so many of them, but also um, after a while, people just got bored of them and decided to just put them away and just donate them. But yeah, it's I haven't actually. I think I booted them up just to try them out, just to make sure they work, and yeah, they work. But I don't got the balance board, and I don't have any intention of getting them anytime soon. Especially since like I would have to. You really don't know where those balance boards have been, so I am a bit concerned about that. Okay, so we still got quite a few games here. But the next four games are actually just more Just Dance games. So we got Just Dance 2015. Which comes with a free song, but of course I can't download it because the Wii Shop channel is gone. But that's the 2015 version. We got the 2014 version released back in 2013 actually. This was actually the first time they actually started to, this was when they started taking notes from sports franchises by having the following year, by having the year in the title. Although technically, what they always did was they always put the following year in the title for some reason. So even though it says 2014, it came out in 2013, which is weird. I don't know what it. I guess it's to future-proof them, or whatever. But it's still weird, anyways. So and then we have Just Dance 3 here. Yeah, so I got these games like last year, most of these Just Dance games last year, as part of a much bigger haul from like a convention I went to. Somebody actually offered me to most of their Just Dance games for a certain price. He offered no tax, but I think I still ended up paying the tax anyways because I used a credit card to pay for these. So yeah, it didn't matter anyways. So we have Just Dance 4 over here. Actually, before I forget, yeah, Just Dance 3 is when the franchise went multi-platform. The first two entries, which I actually have right over here as well, is when the franchise, yeah, the first Just Dance games, and as well as Just Dance Summer Party, I believe were Wii exclusives. So it started off in 2009, and yeah, oh my goodness, this feels like a licensed game. All right, it's just feels like one of those shovelware titles, just based on the logo itself. But yeah, Just Dance 2. So that's Just Dance. Started off as a Wii exclusive, and then the third entry they decided to go multi-platform as PlayStation and Microsoft Xbox. They had their own motion control gimmicks around that time as well, with the PlayStation Move and Xbox Kinect. Okay. And speaking of gimmicks, I guess we have three Skylanders games here. We've got, okay, let's actually start with the first one. We got Skylanders Spyro's Adventure, the very first Skylanders game. Originally, Activision pitched this to Nintendo for it to be an exclusive, but Nintendo said no. So the game ended up being multi-platform. And in hindsight, it may have been more beneficial for Nintendo to have them be a Wii exclusive, just for brand synergy. But at the same time, Activision kind of won out because, they got a lot more sales from having this on multiple platforms. Although, from my understanding, because like they were developing these games for Wii first, the first two entries, both this and Skylanders Giants, definitely felt more like a Wii game, whereas like subsequent entries were built with the HD systems in mind, and that was when the Wii version started feeling like a watered down version of these experiences. Now, I recently just traded in a whole bunch of my Wii games. Or sorry, not just a whole bunch, I should say. A handful of my Wii games specifically Skylanders Swap Force and Trap Team on the Wii, because I already got them on Wii U. They're just the same game, really. So I didn't need them. I have here, however, Skylanders Superchargers Racing. This is a much like some of the previous actually no, much like the Amazing Spider-Man, which I just showed off. Uh, Again, this was one of those same name. Actually, no, it's not even the same name. It has the word racing in it because this is purely a racing game. They basically just took out all the racing components from from the HD version of the game and just put them into its own game, specifically for the Wii and 3DS. And for the Wii and 3DS version, you got Bowser as an exclusive character. Yeah, this is when Nintendo realized, okay, the Skylanders franchise, maybe we should have actually made that deal, and so they did sign a new deal to have both Bowser and Donkey Kong in the games. In the Wii U version, Donkey Kong is featured on the cover, and yeah, I am aware that one of the developers said they just couldn't bring this game to the Wii or 3DS, so they just made it just had the racing components and nothing but the racing components. And to be fair, the 3DS versions of Skylanders were all different anyways. It's just that for this game, they basically ported the 3DS version to the Wii. So, which is a bit odd, but kind of makes sense as well since the last two entries, I believe, were starting to really struggle. Trap Team especially. But yeah, that's Skylanders Supercharged Racing. This game came out all the way back in 2015. This is when the franchise was the whole Toys to Life um, genre of games was starting to falter because it was becoming way too oversaturated with competitions like Disney Infinity and Lego Dimensions, and then of course this led to Starlink, Battle for Atlas being dead on arrival, but that's a completely different story. Let's actually get to the last handful of games. I got a couple more here. I got Glacier 3: The Meltdown. This was just a shovelware game that I picked out from Zellers. Those of you who live in Canada, you know what that is. Basically, it's a department store that went bankrupt sadly many years ago, and this was one of the few games I picked up before that place closed down before it went bankrupt. And yeah, it's not a great game, sadly. Not that particularly great game, but I got it. Before I forget, yeah, I think I opened this. Yeah, so here's Giants. Here's okay, just to. Oh yeah, before I forget, this game is a two-player game, but but the 3DS version, funny enough, has online multiplayer, which is interesting, or at least it did until it got shut down. But finally, we got the last game in this lot here, Metroid Other M. This was released back in 2010, 3 years after the ending, technically after what was then the end of the Metroid Prime trilogy. And I believe this was a sequel to Super Metroid, but also wanted to build on the success of the Metroid Prime trilogy by having like 3D gameplay as well. So you basically alternate between like 2D gameplay and 3D gameplay, and Samus actually has a voice this time around, something that is very rare for Nintendo characters, and unfortunately, it did not go so very well. To put it simply, Samus was basically a walking and talking anime archetype, and that's probably the best way I can describe it. Her delivery feels very stoic, but not in a good way. And the game itself was not very well received, sadly, and which is a pity, because of course there was a lot of potential for this, but it just didn't work out. Yeah, so Team Ninja, I believe they would go on to do something else for Nintendo. I think it was like the Hyrule Warriors games they did. I can't remember what else they did, but they did something else later on. But yeah, that's basically it for this lot here of Nintendo Wii games. I actually got a couple more over here to my left. All right, so hiding in this corner over here are a couple of Wii games. And I think you can already guess which one they are. So, actually, you know what? So, I got Wii Sports and Wii Sports Resort. These two were pack-in titles that originally came with my Nintendo Wii. And yeah, I mean, of course, what can I say about Wii Sports? It did a good job of demonstrating what the system was all about. Brought in whole lot of casual players as well. It just worked. It just worked as a product. It did its job. And Wii Sports Resort, um, I had so much fun with this. Wahoo Island is amazing. I had I would love to have an open world game featuring Wahoo Island. I think there actually was. They actually did use it, but I would just love if they made it like another Wii Sports type game where you went around the entire island and just had all these events going around. It really would be awesome if they did that, if they haven't already done that. But yeah, that's a, I yeah we got one more title, and it's actually above all this stuff. So the final game I have right here is Mario Kart Wii, um, and of course you've got the signature Wii wheel that was heavily marketed alongside the game. This was one of the few games that either I or my parents paid full price for. It was $60 back then, which was a lot of money for a kid like myself. And I had a lot of fun. There are things this game does that still that's that even the new Mario Karts haven't been quite the newer games after it weren't quite able to replicate. That's I guess it's hard to describe. Like in the case of Mario Kart 7, they got rid of like some of the motorcycle. They got rid of the motorcycles, which is a shame. Um, Mario Kart 8, they brought back the motorcycles, but something about it it just didn't click the same. It's still an excellent game in its own right, but there's something really, really special about Mario Kart Wii. And I gotta say, I do appreciate that you can use like pretty much every single control option on the Wii. Of course, you got the Wii remote in the Wii wheel. You got the Wii remote and nunchuck, class controller, GameCube controller, everything really. So yeah, no, that's all I got to say briefly. There's actually a very active online community for this game still. Like they basically have their own custom servers, private servers for this game, which is really nice. So if you're into that, you know, um, there's plenty of people to play online with, assuming you don't mind like doing that sort of thing. Um, but yeah, that's pretty much it for my Nintendo Wii collection, at least the physical collection. I do have digital games, but honestly, that digital collection has not changed. So go back and watch my previous year's videos, because what you see in those previous videos um, is what I have. Like it hasn't changed because the Wii Shop channel is closed and the Wii U eShop also closed. But yeah, that pretty much does it for this video, guys. If you've stuck around for like nearly the last 1 hour, um, thank you for listening, and share below in the comment section um, some of the games that you had that on the Nintendo Wii that you had a lot of good experience that you remember fondly of, you have fond memories of. Sorry, and also as of course leave a like as well and subscribe, because I could really use some more subscribers now. But yeah, that's it for the video. So as I always say, like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Good night.